I know a lot of local guys I'm speaking to. I met them last time. They were talking about going. Someone said there was a ticket for the Brisbane fire test, $589 for one ticket.
When you're ready, let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, let's go now. 3, 2, 1. Good afternoon and welcome to an overcast, but okay, O'Connor enclosed for this latest National Premier League match. It's round 13, and it's O'Connor Knights against Gungahlin United, the teams that sit 6th and 7th in the table. Although a win today for either team will put them back on the cusp of the 4 at the moment. To get into that, you need at least 20 points, because Queanbeyan City have got there yesterday. My name's Russ Gibbs. Steve Forshaw has joined me here on the portable platform at O'Connor on what's an okay day. I mean, it was a bit, when that wind comes through, Steve, it's a bit cold, but other than that, it's all right. How have you been?
I've been good, thanks, Russ. Nice to be here again. And as you suggest, the weather could have been a lot worse. It's certainly, there is a breeze, but it's overcast. It's not ridiculously cold yet. So I'm looking forward to this, although the pitch is a little bit iffy, I've got to say.
Yeah, it's not been the greatest of surfaces. Watched a game on TV here last week, O'Connor and Tuggeranong United, and the pitch was a bit bobbly. It's going to test the touch of some of these players out there this afternoon. Yesterday, a couple of games that were really important last night for the mix-up on the league table. League leaders, Canberra Croatia beaten at home by Monero Panthers. A much changed Monero Panthers, a change in formation, a change in playing personnel, and a change in result from the Clearwaters derby. Lost 2-1 to Queanbeyan last week, beating Canberra Croatia 2-0 this week. How does that work?
Yeah, hard to explain, but I thought it was a result that Monero desperately needed because they want to cement that sort of top 2 spot. But they played very well. They deserved the win yesterday. I mean, there was a lot of changes to the Canberra Croatian side, and I'm sure that sort of played a part in it. But Monero, for their part, I think got it right yesterday and got the result, a result they needed, and a result that they'll look back on and think, maybe that's the turning point from our winter wobble.
Football doesn't work like this, and I know it's impossible to say, but should Keegan Vucic score after 80 seconds when he's through one-on-one? Mehmetaj makes a great save. Is it a different game? Probably. Probably not. Who knows? It's difficult to say, but those moments, and then it was a 1-0, wasn't it, when Max Green went through. Great save again from Mehmetaj. You know, momentum's a funny thing in football. Either one of those goes in, you never know, but great result for Monero Panthers.
Yeah, fantastic result. And probably a good result for the competition overall, because it sort of opens things up again. It's not a walk away from a Canberra Croatia point of view. Maybe they were a little distracted as well with the big game coming up at the end of the month, but it's a manageable, as I was telling you earlier on, it's a manageable distraction when you've got that buffer between first and second.
Yeah, they're giving themselves that lead. I mentioned it on the commentary last night that they gave themselves that advantage, didn't they? And that's where they're at. Last night, of course, over at South Jerrabomba Regional Sports Complex. What a name. So I have to think of something a bit shorter for that one. Queanbeyan City, the away team in New South Wales, against Tuggeranong United, the home team, because Canberra wasn't playable. Do you get that? Are you with me so far?
Yeah, so far.
Lost you completely already. Tuggeranong United 1, Queanbeyan City 3. Nico Abbott with the first, Mishko Namoski with the second. Zach Lawrence pulled one back, and then Jack Leverett from a long, long way out. Inside his own half in the 97th minute, lobbed Callum Cook to make it 3-1. 2 send-offs, 1 for each team. Nick Emmanuel saw red for Tuggeranong. Mishka Namoski saw red for Queanbeyan. All sorts of things happening. The upshot being Queanbeyan leap into 4th on 20 points. Tuggeranong stay now 5th on 17. They've dropped down 1 place. 6
points out of the last 2 games for Queanbeyan. It's a terrific return, considering that they were at Riverside last week when they beat Monero, and technically they weren't at home again, even though it was in Queanbeyan or in New South Wales. So a really, really good week for Queanbeyan City, who sort of put the cup loss behind them and are just motoring on. And you can't say that they don't deserve to be in the top 4. The results have been very good.
Canberra Croatia 33 from 13. Tigers 24 from 13. 9 points behind in third place. They play this afternoon at Solar Mad Stadium. If they win, they'll go into second. Panthers currently there on 26 points against from 14 games. Then Queanbeyan on 20, Tuggeranong on 17. And these two, Gungahlin on 12, O'Connor on 10. A win for either of them will put them within touching distance again, more so perhaps for Gungahlin because they're going to 15 points, only 5 off the pace. O'Connor probably needs to win if they're to have any hopes of getting into the top 4. But let's talk about O'Connor briefly, because if they do win today, and they got Ugali at home next week, and they can get the points there again, they might be in the mix. Gungahlin, meanwhile, they have Monero Panthers next week, so again, if they could get a result here and a result next week, they'd drag Panthers back into the pack that's chasing as well. It's a big 6 or 7 weeks ahead of us.
Look, it's a competition that you can't sort of write anybody out of the script. At the moment, you've got Gungahlin that have picked up 6 points by beating Canberra Croatia and by beating Ugali last week. They'll be looking to make that 9 points today, and that's a good run of form. From a O'Connor Knights point of view, they desperately need a win because the game or the competition is just slipping away from them a little bit.
They've lost the last 3, O'Connor Knights, but in the last 2, they've been beaten 3-2. They've scored goals. They've just been conceding a few. Now, they're missing a fair few today. They're missing a lot of unavailability and illness gone through the club again. It's a very young and youthful-looking lineup for the O'Connor Knights, which we'll run through in just a moment. Couple of players on the bench as well that have just been part of the 23s. We saw that game. They were beaten 2-1. They were 1-0 up. Anakin Mayok was supposed to make his debut this afternoon off the bench for O'Connor in the first grade. Unfortunately, he was sent off very close to the end of that 23s, trying to get back to make a tackle as a player went through on goal. Straight red card for him, so he misses out. That opens the door to young Marcus Agnello, who was in the defence with him. One misses out, one comes in.
One door opens, one door closes, another one opens, as they say. Yeah, unfortunate for the young boy. It was a red card. He asked the referee to make a decision, and he made that decision as the last defender. He brought a player down. But, yeah, it's a young side, but it's not without capability. I mean, if you look in, and you'll go through in a minute, I'm sure, but you look through that side, there's goals in it, there's experience there. And there's quality. Well,
let's do it right now, Steve. We may as well. Nick Tyler's gone for a 4-3-3 formation for O'Connor Knights. Marcus Smith in goal for the 3rd game in succession. The back four sees Jack Marjoribanks play for the 3rd time this season at right back. James Driscoll, the most experienced player in the back four in terms of goals scored. He's got 5 to his name. Left back, Connor Bill, 118th game this afternoon alongside Josip Oida, who plays his 5th in the centre of defence. Midfield sees Nick Dahl, Daniel Galic and Harry Martin in the midfield 3. Up top, Nico Kresic on the right. Kobe Yari on the left. Ososo Hegi up top. On the bench, Christian Nell, Michael John, Marco Ratowski, Marcus Agnello and Jack Janke.
Yeah, I guess the inexperience is on the bench as much as anywhere else. That if they need to call on that bench early, and we touch wood, they wouldn't have to, but then that becomes a little bit of a problem for them. But you look at that starting 11, the midfield's got experience in it with Harry Martin and Nicky Dahl. Up front, you've got a Heggie. In the back line, you've got Connor Bill, who's been around for a long time, and young Marcus Smith has been doing all right in goals and know his dad really well. So, you'll be here watching him today and hoping that he continues his good form.
Gungahlin United, Javier Roca, 4-2-3-1, if you want to call it that. We'll see what it comes out of as the teams join us. No Loic Lespenas, of course. The Frenchman who scored 4 goals at Deakin Stadium has departed these shores after 3 games. Left his mark with those 4 at Deakin. The team is Aidan Mumford in goal. He's teetering on suspension. He's got 3 yellow cards to his name, the big goalkeeper. Thomas Robertson, Nikola Troikovsky, Jack Green and Nikita Burns across the back. Angus Bailey and Riley Brown will patrol in front of that back 4. Then wide, we'll see Giancarlo Daddario and AJ Malaulu. Ayumu Kimura, the Japanese, will play as a 10. Yoshida Shoki in front of him. Bailey Dickinson, William McCloskey, Deacon Palombi, Jaden Rippon and Samuel Hine, the goalkeeper, on the bench.
Once again, it's probably an unfamiliar lineup from a Gungahlin point of view. But capable, good experience, good quality. Jack Green marshalling the back 4. goalkeeper of highest quality in Canberra. So I think that this is a game where two teams are pretty evenly matched, and we can expect a close one, but an exciting one.
AJ Malaulu, who played against Canberra, Croatia, started wider, came into the middle when the send-off happened with Nikola Yadris, changed the game. He's out on the left-hand side, we were told to start with. Won't be surprised if he does dovetail with Kimura, who will go forward and he'll drop into that little hole.
Certainly, I thought he played very well when he dropped into a midfield role. He'd been a little bit peripheral in the first half against Canberra, Croatia, but in the second half he influenced the game and was largely, amongst a lot of other players, responsible for the victory.
Bruno Kell is our who's half Romanian. It's Cornelius Maynard who's half Romanian. He told me that we were chatting beforehand and we just got the wrong name mixed up. Not you, but me and him. So yeah, he said we'll rectify that, and I have done.
Yeah,
so there you go. Half Romanian for him. I don't know which half.
Left half. Yeah, I think the pitch is going to have to play some sort of a role in this as well. I mean, it's just not in great condition. It's not as bad as it's been in the past when we've been here, but it's not in great nick either, and that might just influence the way these two teams approach the game.
Is my watch wrong? It says 2:58.
We can't be going early.
We cannot be going early, surely.
No.
I asked Bruno Kell if we were going to kick off on time before when he was in the change rooms, and he said, "Well, we'll do our best. Look, we might even be a minute ahead of time."
There'll be people that'll be turning up thinking we won't be starting until 15:15.
Well, if you've decided to go and put the kettle on like you normally do at these games, you're all right. You've generally got plenty of time, but not today.
I don't think he's going to make them wait.
Went for Bruno Kell.
No, we're off.
No, we're going to go early for the first time in history.
Ever heard of it in Canberra.
Never heard of it here at O'Connor. It's unheard of. So the Knights in the whites and reds attacking the goal to our left. Nick Dahl immediately. Robertson away. That was nice and bright.
Yep. Back
here for Josip Oida. It's popped into the side. It's centre back, and he's done quite well, the youngster. Driscoll forwards. A lot of Nico Kresic out wide today as well. Can he create one from the right?
Yeah, when you're going through that sort of period where you're getting a lot of injuries, a lot of absenteeism, the senior players have got to step up. And Kresic is now a senior player. He can no longer rely on being a callow youth.
Kobe Yari finds Jack Marjoribanks. Oida. Ball forward for Galich. Sturdily built central midfielder. One back by Robertson. Here's Malaulu. Brown. Marjoribanks comes in. It's time to do that usual thing of where we go about what they've done against each other. The teams have met 10 times in the NPL. Gunners have 5 wins, Knights 3, 2 draws. Total there have been 44 goals in the 9 matches. Gunners have 24 of them. Knights have 20. Knights have never won a home match against Gungahlin at this venue. They've lost 2 and drawn 1 of the 3 matches played.
Well, they'll be certainly looking to rectify that particular record.
Jack Green back in the lineup.
Did he play last week?
You asked me that before and I can't remember. I wasn't on their game last week. Or was I? I don't know. So many games. They've kicked off down at Solomads. Gungahlin versus Tigers. 0-0 there at the moment.
Looks like we got a 4-2-3-1 for Gungahlin.
Bailey tried to find Dadaria. Malaulu with the turn. Yari. The Papua New Guinean against the Samoan Youth Internationals. I'll tell you about that in a moment. Free kick will go the way of Gunners here. Talking to Kobe Yari before, said his first international, ironically for Papua New Guinea, was against Samoa, and AJ Malaulu was on the opposite side. So 2 boys from Canberra playing against each other in a South Pacific international. Couldn't make it up, could you?
No. The Cosmopolitan.
Yeah, you've had too many cosmopolitans this morning, have you?
Yeah, that word. The nature of Canberra football.
You wouldn't imagine it, would you? You pop up, maybe you didn't know, and they're like, hang on, I know you.
Yeah.
Anyway, here they are toe-to-toe in probably, I'm going to suggest, slightly cooler climes.
I think you'd be right. I think you'd be. But, you know, we mentioned it before. Not unpleasant today.
Yoshida Shoki with the first chance of the game.
Interesting setup from Gungahlin. Just going to try and distract the wall.
A wall in front of wall, including Kimura as well. Shoki has it within his locker to test Marcus Smith here. And it is over the wall from Shoki, and it's going to bounce harmlessly wide of goal. Over towards the pitch to our right, where the O'Connor Knights women's team are in action today against UC Stars. Know all the action, me.
Yeah, I mean, you're a walking encyclopedia.
All useful stuff as well. I don't even know that that's happening today because Sarah Matthews, who used to play for Tuggeranong United, is playing for UC Stars, and I saw her yesterday at a Tuggeranong game I was watching, and she told me she was making a comeback from injury today for UC Stars in this particular game. Anyway, here's a Heggie to swing it across into the middle. Real chance for Yari Yari, and he stumbled before he could make contact. Gunners dodge one.
Yeah, great opening that. Yari Yari will be a little disappointed that he hasn't been able to sort of tuck that away because it was a great opportunity, and it was, you know, in the far post, not a lot of pressure on him, but he's managed to just miss kick it.
Couldn't set his body. Just to complete that story, good luck to Sarah Matthews on her recovery and her first match back. Always good to get back after injury, isn't it? There's a little bit of trepidation always in the back of the mind.
Yeah.
Robertson wins it. Strong challenge from Marjorie Banks.
There's been a lot of discussion around the amount of injuries, lower limb injuries.
Good hand, Steve Forshaw.
Knee injuries and that sort of thing in the women's game, and whether that can actually be prevented if we actually pay more attention to what's causing it. So there's a lot of discussion going on at the moment.
Hopefully they'll find a solution.
Yeah.
We've talked about a lot of injuries in the local game, and I think we've said about beforehand about giving the kids a rest might be quite a useful thing, not having them coming back to trial 3 weeks after the season's finished. Anyway, story for another day.
Yeah, try and keep kids away.
Sometimes it's a club's responsibility to say, go take a...
Yeah, it is.
Go enjoy your childhood. Tchaikovsky to send it forward. Picked off by Marjorie Banks. Nick Dahl, former Gunners midfielder, of course.
Yeah.
Kresic.
Had a couple of clubs, Nicky Dahl.
Belconnen United, one of them, who were stunned yesterday. Home by Canberra Juventus.
Yeah.
That league has certainly taken a turn yesterday, didn't they? Canberra Olympic beaten by Brindabella Blues. Yeah. ANU getting a win again.
Yep.
Top four closing up rather nicely.
Yeah, I think certainly from a Juventus point of view, it was a good result, and they deserved it. They were the better team yesterday, but only just.
Brindabella Blues not out of the equation either after their 2-0 win yesterday.
Great result for Brindabella.
Few would have picked that one. Anyway, that's interesting to keep an eye on as well. Good ball over the top from Tchaikovsky. Robertson released down the flank, and he's fizzed that across. Once Smith was less than assured. Did enough.
Did enough, just. Great ball in from Robertson. Great run to get on the end of it.
Put his foot through it, did Thomas Robertson.
This is quite an open game. The start of it's been refreshing from that point of view.
Heggie using his strength. That's a nice touch from Galic to free Yari Yari. And Kresic might be in behind here. It's a good ball too. Nico Kresic, real opportunity for the Knights. Can he finish it off? He can't. Was it blocked by the arm of Burns?
I'll tell you what, that's a wasted opportunity. Great ball from Yari Yari. And he was odds on to score. And he's just hesitated. And as they say, he who hesitates is lost. And that's a golden... That's two really good opportunities. And they really should have scored at least one.
Brilliant block from Burns with his chest in the end, I think it was. Kresic to send it into the middle. And Mumford might have done enough just to hold him up. But what a pass from Yari Yari.
Yeah, it was a great ball. But he was just a little bit indecisive for me. You know, been a bit more positive. He could have taken it and just taken it first time and rolled it into the bottom corners. But Gungahlin get away with one there.
Steve Forshaw used to be indecisive. No, he's not so sure.
Not so sure, no.
Absolutely, of course, the old ones are the best. The Knights have lost the last 3 matches in succession. They've only one win in their last 5 in the NPL, which is unusual for a side of this quality. There's only ever been 3 games between these two at this venue. Gungahlin, though, have had 7 home matches. Go figure that one out.
How does that work?
I have no idea, but 10 matches between them, 7 home Gungahlin games, 3 for O'Connor. Yari, Kresic.
With the playing 3 times, I suppose, it's just way it's worked there.
Bailey sends it forward. Angus Bailey, who turned up today with his kit in a Tigers kit bag, tells me he hasn't got his Gungahlin one yet. Needs must and all that.
Yeah, that's the sort of nature of the local comp, isn't it? People, they don't put a turnstile on, it's a revolving door.
Jack Marjoriebanks will take this throw. As Steve Forshaw said, nice bright opening to the contest. Bailey got stuck in, but it will be a throw to the Knights, which Marjoriebanks will take. Haven't quite got the lethal long throws we've seen from other teams. Kresic, who started brightly, that's a good challenge there from Riley Brown. Here's Daddario. Picked off by Oida. It does get to Daddario after a fashion. Going back to that game at Deakin Stadium a couple of weeks ago, how good was that pass from Giancarlo Daddario that put Lespinas in to win it at the end?
Fantastic.
Perfectly weighted and put into his path.
But that was a game where the goals were terrific. I mean, we saw some lovely football from Corbetaldo, I think it was, with the little reverse pass to set one of the chances up.
Well, Harry Martins played it straight to Shockey. Not the best idea. And he's found Kimura. The flag is up.
Good save, though.
Yeah, it was a good save from Smith. It ends up in the back of the net anyway. It won't count. Ibrahim Al-Sahi on this near side has his flag up. 3 games in the Women's Premier League today, of course. We'll try and keep you across everything that's happening in those ones as well.
Bill Connor at home to Majura, I think.
Croatia play Tuggeranong United at Deakin Stadium. There's Gungahlin United versus West Canberra Wanderers in the match. I think that one is a Marlborough synthetic. No goals in those two. And the other game you said was Majura and Belconnen.
And McKellar?
McKellar and Belconnen, after 5 minutes, are 1-0 up. And nobody in Canberra is surprised.
No, I don't think that's the last of the scoring at McKellar.
Declan Smith is stood next to me. You can tell me you scored for Belconnen, can't you? I'll flick through the phone, mate. Have a look. Get him working on his day off. That's what he gets for turning up.
Double time. You
Absolutely.
get paid double time.
Gets the pleasure of our company in a game of football. What more do you want? Nick Dull, strong on Kimura. Scored a couple of goals in his last outing. Ayumu Kimura. Second and the third in the win over Ugali. It's come off of Dahl last. Showed good reactions to get the goal. Came back off the crossbar in did Kimura.
I think they missed a penalty as well, didn't they, last week?
They did. Bronte Pike scored the goal. Thanks, Declan. Look, get all over it. Marauding fullback, Bronte Pike. He's Shockey. He's been in good form recently. Seems to have settled in nicely into the outfit. Took him a while, but found his position now, maybe.
Yeah.
They have moved him around a little bit in this team, haven't they?
They have, but I think there's been a number of Japanese imports in the last, this season, if you like, and last, and all of them have looked decent. And Shockey is no exception.
Yeah, we've got Ayumu Kimura in this team as well.
Yeah.
Takuya Miyabayashi, whose season is probably over. He's got a knee injury at Queanbeyan City, unfortunately. And, of course, Tomohiro Ogawa, who didn't make the trip down to the Riverina today.
He did his hamstring last week?
Yeah, he's not in a good way either. Here's Robertson bursting into the area. That challenge from Galich is a penalty.
Yeah.
It did look it from here. There wasn't much ball. O'Connor can protest all they like. But Robertson, off on a rampaging run again, is upended and a spot kick to the visitors.
And you can't say that Bruno Kell's got that wrong. It was nailed on from my point of view. Great opportunity then for Gungahlin to take the lead.
There might be some in O'Connor's shirts that would disagree with you, but I think probably That would be a bit blind, one-sided.
You'd have to be a very one-eyed bias supporter to actually think that that wasn't a spot kick.
Now, Giancarlo Daddario has been given the responsibility from 12 yards. Marcus Smith in goal for the Knights. Daddario to give the Gunners the lead. Tucks it away with aplomb. Smith went the right way, but could not get anywhere near it. And just before the quarter-hour mark, it's the Gunners who lead.
Yeah, not the sort of start that O'Connor wanted, but beautifully tucked away. Very, very composed, and gave young Smith no chance, as you would expect from a spot kick.
Only the second league goal of Giancarlo Daddario's senior NPL career. He took that like a veteran.
Yeah, it was well taken, but that just sort of gives the impetus to Gungahlin, and they've been in the best form of the two teams, so it's really a battle now for O'Connor Knights to try and get back into this game.
Not helping themselves with that pass. Four in all competitions now for Daddario. Interesting that he's the man on the spot kicks when you look around the team with Shockey and Kimura and a few others.
Yeah, I must admit I was a little bit surprised that he stepped up, but took it like he meant it.
Trakowski just gets rid of that. Well, struck it with verve, didn't he? Past Smith.
Right in the corner. You don't save them.
Galich, who conceded the spot kick. He'll be fuming, possibly with himself.
Great run from the fullback.
Made the challenge. It was a great run, yes, from Robertson.
I mean, it was strong. It was positive.
It invited the challenge.
And invited the challenge. My words exactly.
Got it, didn't it, as well?
Yeah.
I don't think there was many arguments from those in O'Connor Knights shirts.
Galich didn't sort of throw up his hands in despair, did he?
Other than the fact he might have given away the penalty. So early breakthrough for the Gunners as they seek another win. They are unbeaten in their last 4 NPL matches against the Knights. Started this one well. Having not won their previous 4 games, Gunners have now won the last 2 and scored 8 in the process. It's going to come out here for Martin.
It's your typical football match, isn't it? Where you have 2 really good chances at one end and then a penalty conceded at the other end that breaks the deadlock. I mean, O'Connor Knights will be looking at it and going, we need to be better in attack in terms of finishing, and we've got to defend with a little bit more composure as well.
Robertson won the header. Kimura showed too much of it to Dahl. Yari can find Martin. Bill picked off by Shockey. Only momentarily, though. Knight struggling to get away with it is Malaulu. Finds his way to Yari, who gave that opportunity to Nico Kresic. He's had one himself, Yari, that he couldn't turn home.
I'm not catching that one, Ross.
No, that one's over your head. First one you caught there. Great reflexes. Thought you were a goalkeeper.
I was actually going to try and bring it down on my thigh, but then...
You realise you got no knees left.
Well, I realised that I can't do that.
You'd have been off the platform.
I would.
Heggie's touch finds Yari. Couldn't squeeze it through, rather got stuck under his feet. Kobe Yari features in a 3 or 4 page spread in the new Extra Time magazine that we've got. There's been a goal at McKellar Park. It's Balcony United 1, Majura 1.
Good on them.
So maybe that is surprising everybody in Canberra.
That would have.
12 minutes in, that's an important goal for Majura. So they can kick on from there.
Yeah, Scotty Collin will be tearing the rest of his hair.
I mean, they've only scored 165 goals this season in 10 games or whatever it is, isn't it?
It's not enough.
In good form, Balcony United. They can afford a slip-up or 2 in that division. That's just not to say that's going to happen today.
No,
and they probably poked the bear a little bit there, Majura, by equalising. Yeah, I was mentioning Kobe Yari in the new Extra Time magazine that I'm bringing out shortly.
Yeah.
He's got a good feature in there. Great story about getting picked up by Papua New Guinea, what it meant to him and his family.
Yeah. I worked with him at Tigers when I had a brief spell at Tigers, and I thought then that he would be a decent local player, and he's gone on to bigger and better things. A little bit late, that challenge.
Yeah, on Aidan Mumford's. Keeper's seen it all before, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's been hit harder than that in his time.
He's played in some cooler climes than this as well, hasn't he? He had a spell in Scotland, which would have tested the old resolve.
Yeah, I think anything longer than a Wednesday afternoon.
This is Harry Martin on the turn. Yeah, Heggie's got a bit of space to move into. Galich ahead of him. Yari on the far post. So Heggie goes himself. Bailey nicks it off his toe at the expense of a corner.
Yeah, good shape from Gungahlin point of view. Recovery runs were good. Good positive run from Heggie, just showing some signs that after they've conceded, they have got a little bit about them and they're not going to roll over and let Gungahlin get these 3 points without a fight.
Well, they go direct with the corner. Looks like it. The option was short. Swung towards the far post. Munford through the crowd. Kimura up towards Shockey. Helped it on, but in the process of doing so, there was no one to help it on to.
No. I mean, the outball was just a little bit too high for him, but he made a really good run from the middle of the park to try and get on the end of it.
Bailey, Dario, the goal scorer, back for Robertson, who won't get an assist for the run, but
probably
an indirect one to win the penalty. Here is again Robertson. Runs into Harry Martin. Heggie looked to return the favour, but Robertson was back there.
Just a little bit too casual then from Heggie. Big, strong centre forward, though, isn't he? Bags of pace.
It's not his greatest season in front of goal this year. It's been a bit of a stop-start campaign for him. He spent a lot of the time overseas. He has got 3 goals in 4 starts and 2 substitute appearances as well. His career, 74 in 178 games before today. But, I mean, he went off to Europe, I think, for about 4 or 5 weeks.
It's a honeymoon, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Congratulations to him and his wife.
I mean, yeah, he didn't just up and go just for the sake of it.
No. I think he took his wife with him.
I think he did,
decent.
yeah. I think it was, yeah. Got 2 tickets. Here's Kimura showing his pace to get in behind. That was a very important piece of defensive work from Bill.
It's the sort of defensive work we've grown used to from Connor Bill. He's been one of the mainstays of the O'Connor Knights over the last 2 or 3 seasons, but it's a much changed outfit that we see today.
Yeah, rung the changes, haven't they, over the course of the last year, since they won the Cup.
Yeah, new coaching staff, new players in, some players out. Michael Adams was playing for Juventus yesterday, who was, of course, captain of this side over the last couple of years.
Well, Cup winners last year, league champions the year before.
Yeah.
Facing the ignominy at the moment of the 7th place on the table. And should Gungahlin get a win today, they'll close that gap to a point. Driscoll. Different vibe around the place at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we were singing the praises of Driscoll over the last couple of seasons and since his move from Tuggers, I think.
West Canberra Wanderers.
West Canberra Wanderers.
When they brought the entire backline across.
They did, and he looked a really good player. But since the departures of some of the more senior players, he's just come back to the pack a little bit.
Not sure what's happened here. Bruno Kell is coming over to chat to his assistant Cornelius Maynard on that far side.
Surely not discussing the fact that it was the wrong decision about a throw-in.
I think it might be something said from the bench, from Nick Tyther maybe.
This will be over
from
the
his coaching staff.
I mean, well, we all do it. It certainly looked like it was a Connor throw, but I think there are more important issues at stake.
Bruno Kell just telling him to calm down. He will sort it all out midway through the first half. Shockey. Malahulu couldn't quite get it back to Shockey. Now Martin might be able to bring something on the break. Burns did well. Trajkovski's happy to just slow things down and go back to Mumford. They've got the lead. Up towards Dario, who provided it. Again, wins a flick on, no runners in behind. Now, I guess when you look at the players they've got there in Kimura, Shockey, Malulu, Daddario, there's not an out-and-out forward that's going to run those channels in behind, is there?
No, but I think they'll be expecting a lot from Malalulu. I think they'll be wanting to get him in behind Kimura. And Kimura may even be asked to get in behind Daddario or on either side. But if they're going to play that long ball, that direct ball, they've certainly got to have somebody that takes the gamble.
It's all very well winning the flick on, but if you're flicking it onto the opposition,
yeah.
sometimes it's better to just let the ball go and try and gamble yourself.
Well, I think Kimura just needs to go on the last man.
Which he's doing right now. We just saw him, though. It's a bit loose from Marjorie Banks. Shockey. Kimura.
Just good football.
Shockey
nice
again.
Combination.
Riley Brown sends it wide towards Nikita Burns. Shockey takes over again.
It's a corner.
With the corner kick.
I'll tell you what, it's not very often you watch a Gungahlin team always give a goal kick.
Well, it was a corner, wasn't it?
It looked it. But it's not very often that you watch a Gungahlin game and you're not mentioning Jack Green a lot. And he hasn't been in the game at all because he's had very little defending to do.
So many players left this football club, of course.
Yeah.
Shortly after the departure of Miro Trininic's head coach. Kind of fell apart after that a little bit.
They went through the proverbial transition, didn't they? But
new coaching staff, new players, new ideas perhaps. Hasn't quite clicked for them. It's gone. In fact, it's gone much the other way.
Yeah. It's been a bit of a struggle. But you might say the same about Gungahlin, but they've turned a corner. I mean, when you lose the quality of Gaspari, et al., it's a difficult sort of transition.
Well offside, Kimura. I think the late departure of the coaching staff didn't help matters, did it? Because they had their self set up. They're ready after the Charity Shield and
it was post-Charity Shield.
Yeah, having got that trophy in the cabinet and looking like they were set fair.
Yeah, but it came apart at the seams in a very short period of time.
Daddario sticks a leg out. Martin finds Marjorie Banks. That one for Yari with a little nutmeg on Robertson. Bailey kept it in play.
He did very well.
Jack Green wide for Burns. And that's overhit for Shockey.
Yeah, just nice combinations to get out of pressure, from under pressure. But then the next ball that they're looking for to penetrate and get themselves in behind the back four over Connor Knights is not quite there yet.
One back by Shockey. Robertson, Malulu with a spin and turn, and that's a lovely looking ball over the top towards Bailey. Just skip away from Angus. Bailey didn't quite have the pace to keep it in.
No, good idea though. Good idea. Great run from Bailey, and Malulu picked the run out. Tried to get him in behind. But that's what I'm saying. You just need that little bit more quality, and those sorts of balls will pay off.
They should do. No goals down at Solomad just yet. In that Women's Premier League, Canberra Croatia have scored against Tuggeranong United. They lead by 1-0 at Deakin Stadium. There's been a goal at Melrose as well. West Canberra Wanderers 0, Gungahlin United 1 in that one. And midway through the first half at McKellar, 1 apiece, Belconnen and Madura. That's you up to date with everything. I saw in the women's reserves this morning that Canberra Croatia beat Tuggeranong United 12-0.
That all?
Here's Kimura stabbing it goalwards. Oh, and he's caught Smith out. And that's a finish of some quality from Ayumu Kimura, who's been in a good goal-scoring form. And out of nothing, Gunners have 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that young Marcus Smith will be overly pleased with his efforts there, but it's the benefit of taking things early, and he's just got himself that little bit of space on the edge of the box and effectively just toe-poked it into the bottom corner, catching the goalkeeper a little bit on his heels, but doubles the lead from Gungahlin. They'll not be worried about anything else other than pushing on and trying to get the 3 points.
Well, it came out of nothing, didn't it, really? And that will be the disappointing thing from the point of view. It was a Robertson throw that everyone's missed. And then Kimura smacks it in the net. Speaking of in the net, Solamad, goal for Ugali. Ugali 1, Tigers 0 after 27 minutes down there. So we'll bring you news of who scored that in just a moment. But that's a massive goal in the league title chase as well at both ends.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But I think there'll be people at Deakin Stadium thinking that if that result can hold up, it'll be a good one for them.
Malaulu finds Daddario. Knights trail by 2. And Robertson, I guess, he has an assist for the throw, which sets up Kimura, and it was his run that brought the penalty. Had a good start to the game, Thomas Robertson.
He'd be very happy with himself. I mean, the throw that he took actually went nowhere, and it was only a lack of defensive application that sort of let Gungahlin in, but then finished really neatly.
It was kind of a futsal finish, wasn't it? The little stab of the toe, and it just goes to show you do not have to take the load off the football to score.
No,
just put it in the corner, picked his spot. Lovely finish
and he
from
meant
Ayumu Kimura.
Yeah, he meant it. That's what he was trying to do.
3 goals in 2 matches. Well, 1.5 games, if you like, or 1 1/3. Here's Galich.
Well, let's see what O'Connor Knights have got. They've created a couple of good chances for themselves, but find themselves 2 behind, and they've got to get the next one.
Rather surprisingly, Steve, one of the Donadels scored for Ugali. But it was Stefan Donadel, one of the younger ones. I think that might be his first Premier League goal for Stefan Donadel.
Not for the family.
Not for the family, no. When you've got 65 players in the team, you're going to get a few. But that's a big goal for Ugali.
It's a great goal. It sort of puts the cat amongst the pigeons.
Well, it did for a minute or two because Tigers have just equalised.
There you go.
It's 1-1 down at Solamad now. Just to provide you... Don't know if that was a Donadel as well. I doubt it, unless it was an own goal. Here's Yari. Just a response Ali Effie's team would have wanted.
Yeah.
James Driscoll.
Yes, with Monero winning last night and Tigers a chance of picking up 3 points in Ugali, the Cats might well be in amongst the Canberra-Croatia Pigeons.
Yari looking to take on Green. Too strong, Jack Green.
Yeah,
well, if not quite amongst the Pigeons, they're definitely stalking them at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah.
I'm told Lukman Ahmed Shaibu has scored for Tigers, formerly of both of these teams. Lukman Ahmed Shaibu.
You tell me he's a very humble gentleman.
He's well travelled.
Yeah.
He's been around a few clubs.
But not egotistical at all. He's just very easy to get along with and does his job and good to have around the changing rooms. And obviously...
Scores goals as well.
Scores goals.
He's got himself another today. Put his team back on terms, so we will see how that one plays out. Daddario. Malaulu wants to get it back again. Margie Banks got stuck again. Martin's touch only finds Robertson. Tchaikovsky swinging it wide. Physical by Driscoll on Shockey. Here he is again, picking up nice pockets of space. Malaulu out wide for Daddario to send it into the area.
Yeah, not his best ball.
Bailey for Brown.
Impressive, the 2 Japanese boys for Gungahlin. Find that little bit of space, use the ball well.
Well, everything's going through Shockey at the moment, isn't it? Kimura's touch, that's offside against Burns. Nice to get him on the score sheet again. Kimura, when you're playing as an attacking player, this is his 5th game full club. He's scored 3 goals now.
That's a good return.
O'Connor have scored at least 1 goal in their last 9 matches. They didn't score in round 3. They've scored in every game since. They have conceded now 13 goals in their last 4 NPL matches, only scoring 5.
They conceded 9 in 1.
In 4 home games this season, they've only won once against Gungahlin. They have been beaten here by Canberra, Croatia, Monaro, Panthers and Tuggeranong, and staring down the barrel of a 5th home defeat of the season. Now, when they won the league, their home form was brilliant. Their away form was good as well.
They were almost unbeatable that season, weren't they?
And they didn't concede many goals, did they? They were defensively, they were superb. Now they've conceded 40 this season. That's the most of anyone in this division.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing some evidence as to why that's occurred.
Kimura.
Certainly it's not down to a lack of effort or application. It's just, I think they just switch off at crucial times and they get punished.
They've been done twice this afternoon so far. Daddario. Shockey. Daddario again. Oh, trod on the ball. No room to manoeuvre, though, for the Knights. Galich's clearance found Shockey and then brings him down.
Yeah, good feet from Shockey.
Feeling the back of that left hamstring for a moment there, wasn't he? Whether or not he just tweaked himself as he was brought down.
This is Jack Green territory.
Big centre-back, Jack Green, hasn't scored a goal this season, which is unusual for him. Shockey's lofted that in towards Robertson, who's been in fine form today, and he's now got himself a goal to go with it. Simple as you like. Shockey's free kick. Robertson with the bullet header, his 2nd of the season, and Gungahlin, well, they're cruising towards 3 points after 35 minutes.
Lovely delivery. Fantastic finish. But really, really substandard defending. I mean, Connor Knights will be looking at themselves and going, we've got to at least attract the runner and then try and get some pressure on to stop him having the free header. But they just left young Marcus Smith exposed there and gave him no chance. Whether he could have come for it, don't know. But certainly there was no defenders there putting any pressure on. 3-0 for Gungahlin, and game is theirs to lose.
All too simple. One lofted ball from Shockey, and Robertson allowed the time and space. Cracking finish, though, from the centre.
Yeah, it was good header.
Well, I say centre-back. He's playing right-back today. Bullet header. You said it was Jack Green territory. Maybe we now need to start calling it Thomas Robertson territory.
What a start to the game he's had.
Brought down for the penalty. Sets up the first goal with a throw. That's the second goal, rather, and scores the 3rd himself.
Nothing left for him to do now. He can go off at half-time.
Absolutely. Yeah, Heggie. Early contender for player of the match.
They certainly had an influence on this one.
Free kick goes the way of the Knights, who need a response before half-time, really.
I was asked before the game what my predicted score would be, and I said 3-1 for Gungahlin. I think I might have been a little bit short.
Well, if Knights pull one back here, we're in for a dull second half, if you're correct, aren't you? We might as well all go home. Never mind Thomas Robertson. Nico Kresic needs to find the same sort of quality that Shockey did into the penalty. It's not bad, but Mumford comes through the crowd. Too close to the big man in goal.
Yeah, he read that very, very well, safe as houses. Mumford, he's been doing that for a long time.
Didn't roll it out quite as far as he did against Tuggeranong, which gave Nick Emmanuel a goal. Learnt his lesson. Daddario. Dahl finds Driscoll. Good ball down the line for Nicky Dahl, but Jack Green stepped across. Gungahlin United, who are having all sorts of issues, now scored 11 goals in the last 2.5 games. Wondered with the departure of Loic Lespenas after his 4 goals at Deakin whether or not they'd just lost their prime focal attacking point. Well, clearly not. 6 in the following 2.
Lespenas goes. Gaspari goes in the window. They haven't lost since.
Some were predicting the doom and gloom after losing those players. And here goes Daddario down the middle, looking to make it even worse. Forced a bit wide by the first touch. Marjoribank stuck with him. Shockey. Riley Brown. Daddario, Shockey, Daddario again. Couple of years ago, Steve stood on this very spot watching O'Connor Knights eviscerate West Canberra Wanderers on this venue. I think it was about 6-0 after 20 minutes. They were absolutely ripping into shreds. Here we are, a couple of years later, and they've been beaten, not quite by the same kind of performance, but they're 3-0 down already at home. Football in, 18 months or so can be a cruel mistress. I say a week's a long time in football. Well, 18 months would feel like an eternity at this club at the moment.
I should imagine that they're looking at the next 18 months and hoping for a lot better.
Positive scenario for them here is they're getting a lot of young players, and lots of minutes and experience of football, which will only serve them well in the long term, but short-term pain for long-term gain, perhaps.
Yeah, if they're patient, I mean, there are clubs in Canberra, and O'Connor Knights have been known in the past to sort of go heavily into the transfer market. And if you do that, then, the experience that the young players have got is a little bit wasted. So I think they've got to make sure they get the balance right.
Riley Brown struggling a little in the middle of the park here with an injury. Malaulu tries to put it out of play. He's only found Yari. And he's going to find a Hegian over the top here. Here's a real chance. It's Sosa Hegi. The flag goes up for offside.
He's still down, Riley Brown. Must have got a fair old whack.
Well, I mean, I guess with the possibility of there being no relegation this year, I don't know if that's confirmed at all as yet. Review came out. I don't know if that has actually been ticked off in terms of that happening. No, but if that doesn't happen, then I guess this is the season to do that.
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. I think both of these teams have had a look at their status in the NPL and gone, we're not going to lose it. We've got a good program behind us. If we're going to have a bad year, this is the year to do it, and we can correct a lot of mistakes, a lot of vulnerabilities if we are patient. And I think both of them have approached it reasonably well. The benefit of experience, if you like, the benefit of having a slightly better squad is at the moment with Gungahlin, and they've shown over the last 2 or 3 weeks that they're capable of being competitive right at the top of the competition.
Talia Backhouse and Kira Bobbin have scored in quick succession for Belconnen. Belconnen 3, Majura 1 at Mackellar. Canberra Croatia have scored 3 in quick succession against Tuggeranong United and make that 4. Brent Palombi's just added another. Canberra Croatia 4, Tuggeranong United 0 in the Women's Premier League. West Canberra Wanderers 0, Gungahlin United 2. So the usual suspects getting the points at the moment. Belconnen 3-1 up, Croatia 3-0 up, Gungahlin 2-0 up. No Canberra Olympic this weekend, of course. They're on the bye. They were beaten in midweek 3-1 by West Canberra Wanderers.
Olympic, were they?
In the Women's National Premier League.
Oh, well, that's a surprise.
The 4-horse race has become 5 with West Canberra Wanderers knocking on the door. And they've been beaten today by Gungahlin, though. That's a good ball from Kimura. And here goes Leo Messi, a.k.a. Robertson, down this right side.
Oh, it's a messy cross.
It's not the best one. There's a chance on the turn for Burns to send it in. Tommy Robertson's been watching too much Club World Cup. He thinks he's a Hakimi from, is it PSG or is it Nuno Mendes, whatever his name is, on the winger? The rampaging fullback.
He's been incredible today.
Had his 8 Weet-Bix for breakfast, maybe. That's a firm challenge from Tchaikovsky on a Hegi. Nothing doing, says Bruno Kell.
Yeah, he was looking for the width and was nobody there. He'd be complaining at Robinson that he wasn't forward.
Get yourself forward, Tommy. Get involved in the game, you really need to.
Daddario's gone more or less into a 9.
There's a bit good fluidity and movement, hasn't there? Malalulu's been there himself. Daddario's in there at the moment. As you mentioned, Kimura was playing there a moment ago. He's more like a 6 right now.
It's chopped very deep.
And Nikita Burns has clattered the challenge onto Nico Kresic, and unsurprisingly gives himself a yellow card. His 4th of the season, I believe, which will mean he'll probably miss the Monero Panthers game next week. But you know what? It depends on what gets put down, I guess.
Check your records.
Yeah. By my records, it's 4 for Burns.
Kimura's dropped back while Riley Brown's off. They haven't replaced Riley Brown, have they yet?
Not yet. They're just trying to work on him, aren't they, with the 10 men?
Yeah.
He looks okay, ready to continue over there. And he's just been summoned back onto the field of play as we speak. But it's interesting when you see that and you go, which player's going to drop into the 6th role, and you take your furthest player forward.
Yeah. But it's obviously something that he's comfortable doing.
They've had a fairly comfortable first half. A couple of minutes to go. Kresic, Galic. Going to bulldoze his way through. Comes out for Yari. Gap was closed pretty quickly. Shouts for handball, half-hearted.
No such thing as handball in football anymore.
Uida comes in. Goes down under the Chandra Tchaikovsky. That will be a free kick. And as we enter the final minute of the first half, well, there's a chance here for something.
Well, they need a response. If they can get one here and go in with just the 2-goal deficit, then they'll feel a little bit more confident coming out in the second half.
I think it was earlier this season where they were played off a part by Canberra, Croatia. They were 2-0 down at half this stage. 3 right now. But, of course, Lukman Ahmed Tribal pulled one back right on half-time. They didn't win that game. But they did give themselves a glimmer.
Yeah, it gives you something to play for, doesn't it? Something to look forward to in the second half.
Well, Yari leaves it. What he was going to for Kresic. Now he can lift it into the area. Good ball in towards Dahl, who gets there and nods it wide. And that was the chance to get themselves back into the contest.
Very, very reminiscent of a goal that Nicky Dahl scored for Belconnen in the grand final against Olympic, where he just got on the end of it and Angelo Constanza had come out.
Big Ange came and flapped.
Yeah.
Right on half-time, that made it 2-0.
You remember it then?
I do, because it curtailed your half-time interview. Do you remember?
Yeah,
you were
going to talk to Frank.
With Frank, yeah. And then that went down the pan, because 1 became 2 on the stroke of half-time. Remember it well. Galic, Ehegi, Dahl, that's better. And here goes Galic to burst into the area. Daniel Galic, and that's a good challenge from Robertson.
He's everywhere.
He can do everything, this guy, can't he?
He's all over it like a cheap suit.
It's having some 45 minutes, is Thomas Robertson. I mean, this is his 25th National Premier League game at this level. I dare say he's not had a better one.
Can you imagine the highlights reel from the first half?
It's all him.
It's all him.
Be watching this back later on repeat.
Oh, yeah, I've been on a loop.
45-minute loops. O'Connor knocking on the door here, trying to find a way in. They ended the first half quite well. Yari to the near post, helped on by Driscoll, inches away. Fair play to them. They've not crumbled here. They've kept coming.
I mean, a couple of good chances in the last few minutes, or at least get one back, and they've just not been able to take it.
Well, we're into the second minute of time added on at the end of the first half. Probably get a few.
I tell you, Riley Brown's still limping. I'm not sure we'll see him in the second half.
He doesn't look in comfort, does he?
No.
They have got Bailey Dickinson, William McCloskey, Deacon Palombi, Jaden Rippon on the bench. There's at least 2 or 3 of those who could fit into that role without changing the team around, couldn't you? Bailey Dickinson, perhaps one of them.
Yeah, well, Bailey Dickinson will be looking for a game, I want to mention. Been suspended for...
Well, you've seen him fill in that role before as a 6.
Yeah.
It would be a like for like, near enough. Daddario, Malaulu. Robertson back for Tchaikovsky. A sweeping ball over towards the far post.
Yeah, not for the first time today. He tried that.
Comes out for Bailey, who's bundled his way through a couple, and he's still going, Angus Bailey. And is that another penalty? Referee says no. Oida must have got a touch on the ball. It will be a corner.
Did he give a corner? Yeah.
I think it was a corner. Must have got a fair bit of the ball.
You have to. Otherwise, you're looking down the barrel of another one.
Well, combination of tricky feet, sheer determination, a bit of good fortune.
Yeah.
That Angus Bailey.
Very, very powerful run.
Trocky for Kimura. Looking to twist and turn Harry Martin, who's stuck to it. Kresic is a lonely man up top. Yari will find him. No, it won't, because Burns is back there.
Yeah, they've dealt with that reasonably well. I mean, O'Connor Knights have created the chances, have put some pressure on it in the last few minutes. Jack Green playing 9.
Just hanging around up top, wasn't he? Daddario, Bailey, almost one more for Kimura. Get a second bite at it, Angus Bailey. If he could have found Kimura then, it might well have been 4.
It might have been.
As it is, that'll do for the end of the first half, says Bruno Keller. First half in which, well, O'Connor Knights haven't played that badly, but Gungahlin United have been the dominant side in terms of possession, in terms of territory, and in terms of the scoreboard.
And that's the difference, isn't it? I mean, we saw at 0-0 2 great chances from O'Connor Knights that, had they taken at least one of them, would have changed this game completely. But the momentum swung Gungalin's way through the penalty, and I don't think anybody would have any complaints about that decision. But since then, they've just gone from strength to strength. We had a little period towards the end of the first half where Gungahlin showed some vulnerabilities, and O'Connor looked like they might be able to go in with at least 1 goal on the score sheet, but not to be. And in cruise control at the moment, Gungahlin, and you would expect that they'll come out and do the same sort of things in the second half as they've done in the first.
Halfway, and maybe even further towards 3 points at the halfway stage. Goals from Giancarlo Daddario from the penalty spot, Ayumu Kimura after 28 minutes, and Thomas Robertson with a bullet header 10 minutes before half-time. Means at the break here at O'Connor Enclosed, Gungahlin are having it mostly their own way, and they're well on their way to 3 more points. It's O'Connor Knights 0, Gungahlin United 3.
Everything. Yeah. I'll bring it for you anyway next week and you'll see it. Yeah.
Welcome back to O'Connor Enclosed. We're at half-time. It's O'Connor Knights 0, Gungahlin United 3. My name's Russ Gibbs. With me, it's Steve Forshaw. Steve, first thing first, looks like I saw Deacon Palombi out there in the middle of the park for Gungahlin United, wearing number 21. Looks like he's going to replace Riley Brown. Unsurprising.
No, I mean, he limped off after getting a bit of a knock in the first half, and it was predictable that he wouldn't be coming back out for the second half, and it's Palombi that gets the nod in front of people like Bailey Dickinson, which is probably a reflection on where the game's at as well.
That's the one change for the Gunners. I'm seeing as well Jack Marjoribanks walking past us with a jacket going on, which would suggest there's been a change in the O'Connor Knights setup, and Michael John has come on.
MJ's on, yeah.
So whether or not that's changed the shape a little bit, we will see. John's come on up top to support Ehegi. Marjoribanks goes off. Is just checking to see what they've done here defensively. It looks like Niko Kresic at left back at the moment. We will see whether or not that changes through the start of the second half. Down at Solomad at half-time, it was 1 apiece. Stefan Donadel with the goal for Ugali. Lukman Ahmed Shaibu equalising for, I was going to say Tigers. Oh, it is Tigers. I was going to say...
Well, that's why you were going to say Tigers.
That's what I was going to say. He's had so many clubs, I don't really know where he is anymore. Off we go. Start the second half here.
Certainly a back four. They haven't changed.
Is it more clubs than Tiger Woods or Jack Nicklaus, the old saying? That's where we're at in that one. Anyway, Women's Premier League half-time, Canberra Croatia 4, Tuggeranong United 0. It's fair to say Canberra Croatia look like they're going to win the points there. And over at Melrose Synthetic, just started the second half. West Canberra Wanderers 0, Gungahlin United 3. They look like they're going to win the points there. And at half-time at Mackellar, Buckhorn United 4, Majura 1. Majura did indeed poke the bear. Here's Robertson charging forward and lashing one at goal. Not only is he Messi, he's now Ronaldo also.
I'll tell you what, he's playing with some confidence, isn't he? He's never had any second thoughts about putting his foot through that. Great run forward again. I mean, he's caused them all sorts of problems getting forward on that right-hand side.
If you like your Women's Premier League football and you're down here for Kanga Cup next week, there is a midweek match for you next Wednesday evening. It is at Gungahlin Enclosed, and it will be Gungahlin United versus West Canberra Wanderers. 7:30 kickoff for that one.
All ticket affair.
It will be freezing cold, so bring a blanket and. Well, don't bring a blanket because Ian Worthing hates blankets. You didn't hear that last night, did you?
Yeah, I did.
You did? Yeah, he's not happy with blankets. Sometimes you get to be in his bonnet about things. Goal kicks not taken by goalkeepers. Well, Javier Roca's got a coffee. He's all right there, isn't he?
Short black.
Yeah, he's happy man as he wanders past us. Palombi on at half-time there for Riley Brown. Hope that's not too serious for him.
I think it was just a bang. I think it might have corked a calf or something.
Precautionary as well, perhaps.
Yeah.
Because this one, to all intents and purposes, if they play like they did in the first half, is in the bag.
Well, it's theirs to lose, isn't it?
It's Malalulu. Well done by the midfielder again. Palombi finds Jack Green.
Thought he was a bit quiet in the first half, but there is obvious quality, and that is for sure.
Shockey won it, then lost it. John. Boydet can bring it forward. I don't know where you got to park today, Steve, but I'm halfway down towards Mawson.
If you glance to your right, there's a ute.
Is that you?
No.
I was going to say.
I'm further round than that.
You are a long way down. There's a lot of cars here today. Not so many now because all the juniors have finished.
Big day for the club, O'Connor. Against Gungahlin.
Some interesting results as well. The under-16s beaten 4-3 in
Yeah.
a 7-goal thriller. The under-18s finished 1 apiece. Oh, no, it didn't. Yes, it
Yes,
did.
it did, yeah. Penalty apiece.
23s was 2-1 to Gunners. It was a 1-1 draw, I think, in one of the other grades as well, potentially. I think under-15s was 4-0 to O'Connor.
No, the under-14s was 2-0 Gungahlin.
Yeah, the under-15s was
Oh, the
4-0
under-15s.
O'Connor.
Yeah, was it? I know in the club championship, I think O'Connor picked up 7 points and...
Does that even
Gungahlin
exist
4.
anymore?
Yeah.
I didn't even know we do that at Capital Football. Anyway, here's a Heggie to spin away and a chance, but well blocked by Mumford. I didn't think we were doing... Declan, does the club championship exist anymore? Did we present that last year? We did? Okay, there we go.
Yeah, Gungahlin are top, I think, and Belconnen and O'Connor are close for second.
Jack Green. You should get extra points in the club championship, Steve, if any of your juniors go on to play first grade that season. So if any of your 18s
Already have.
get into first grade, they should get extra points.
Well, the problem is that you've got NPL boys and then CPL first
They
grade.
get to CPL first grade, same thing.
Yeah,
That's
well,
the level, that's the level they're at.
Yeah,
Isn't that the point of the junior competitions?
absolutely. Absolutely. We have this conversation quite regularly with the coaches of Belconnen that it's about getting the metric that we'll use to see whether you're successful isn't the trophies.
Yeah,
you win.
whether it's half a point if they play a game or something like that should be about promoting the players. Heggie, Kresic bursting through again. Mumford, quick
Sharp. Yeah, very sharp off his line. Reads the game really well, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean it would require teams to do it honestly, but if at the end of the season you want to put a whole team of under-18s out to get yourself another 6 points or whatever, knock yourself out.
I don't think people would do that. I mean,
I don't think they would.
have had a couple of players now played in the first grade from
Saw
the
that
under-18s.
saw that in their social media. It's good to see. O'Connor got a few that come through the ranks here today. Might see a couple more later on. Good touch from Driscoll. Finds Harry Martin. Started the second half rather well here. But then again, they started the first half okay as well.
Yeah, they did.
Shockey. Malalulu.
Yeah, it's a good
And it's
ball.
a lovely ball. And Shockey's onside. And he's bearing down on goal. Is this 4? It isn't, because Marcus Smith with a terrific save.
Yeah, really good confidence builder for the young keeper. I mean, he might have come for the third goal and didn't, but he's made up for it there with a wonderful one-on-one save.
Good through ball from AJ Malalulu as well.
World class. Really good ball.
And the only surprise, perhaps, Shockey did not score.
No, and his first touch was brilliant. He took it into his stride and it looked odds on that he would get the goal.
Might get a second chance here. Tchaikovsky finding him. Helps it on to Burns, but it's going to be penalised for a high foot.
Well, bit harsh. Bit harsh.
That wind's picked up.
I was just going to say that.
And it's come
And
off the mountains and it's freezing cold, isn't it?
Yeah.
Must be a bit of snow down in Cooma. Giving that away to Daddario. Who's left it behind. Kobe Yari says thank you very much.
Game sort of went to a stop.
Driscoll. Michael John. Spins away. And again,
Done well.
finds
Done well.
Nick Dahl. It's a good ball. Kresic. Marauding from deeper than usual. Not quite able to find Yari. Gungahlin haven't quite kicked off in the second half in terms of possession, yet they've had the best chance.
No. The change at half-time with Riley Brown going on shouldn't have affected them that much. It's probably more about 3-0 up and not quite approaching the game with the same level of intensity.
Connor Bill.
But certainly O'Connor Knights have started the second half the better, notwithstanding the one-on-one chance.
Clip ball forward. Robertson doing his day job. The defensive work. Yari can't squeeze it into the middle. Cross goes Connor Bill. Kanga Cup starts tomorrow. 360-odd teams across Canberra. Venues up and down the region, or the region of Canberra itself.
Yeah, international visitors as well.
Yeah, it's Philippines and New Zealand teams
it's
here
lovely,
too.
yeah.
It should be a great week. Fingers crossed the weather holds up.
We usually get rain.
Yeah. What's the bomb looking like in the week, Declan?
I think
is it going to rain?
Tuesday, I think.
Is it Tuesday? Oh dear. Could do without any rain, please, if that happens. Don't mind the cold.
Can't do anything about the weather.
No, but it really does cause headaches with the postponements and rescheduled matches if necessary. The knock-on effect elsewhere. Shockey can't get there. Driscoll can go back to his goalkeeper, Marcus Smith. Steep learning curve for him, chucked into the deep end.
Yeah, but he's done well.
Was at High Street, yeah?
Yeah, he's done reasonably. I mean, he's going to make young goalkeepers, inexperienced goalkeepers, mistakes, and they've got to be patient with him. But he's actually shown a lot of potential. He's actually looked like somebody that could go on and make a career of goalkeeper at O'Connor Knights.
Yeah, already looks better than Andre Nana.
Well, yeah, so do I.
Bit thrust into the side. Not an easy team to come into when you're struggling a bit as well.
No, especially for a goalkeeper. Because there's a lot of pressure on it. Although the other side of that particular coin is that you're busy, you look good. Sort of thing if you're making the saves that you need to make.
For the third week in a row, though, they've conceded 3.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a worry for them coaching-wise. Here's Daniel Galich.
With the side they've got on the park, they shouldn't be conceding goals as easily as they have. I mean, the penalty came as a result of a strong run from Robinson, but the other goals were eminently preventable, and they're just not sort of at the races.
Might be in trouble again here. Dodaro, though, is offside. Sometimes, Steve, though, when you're playing and you're conceding, it becomes self-perpetuating, doesn't it? You just can't seem to stop hemorrhage the floods.
That's right.
It just keeps coming and coming and coming, and it's been happening that they'll feel that every chance that Gungahlin have had has gone in the net today, and I think besides the one that Shockey's had saved there by Smith, they're not far wrong.
No, and they've had trouble at both ends of the park, haven't they? They've had 2 great chances in the first half where could have put them in front, and then it's a different game altogether. But bottom line is that they're just below where they need to be at the moment. No matter who they're playing against, the confidence is shot to bits. That making sort of errors that you don't expect from a Knights team. They're a little bit inexperienced, and that inexperience you can get away with a little bit if things are going well. When they're not going well, you need people to keep your heads in the game.
Well, here's a chance for John to tee up James Driscoll, and that's probably summed it up. Could have hit that first time.
And needed to.
There's a problem in the back there with Nikita Burns, though, who has injured a knee, I think. I've twisted a knee in blocking that. He's down inside his own 6-yard box. Jack Green could do well to get rid of this, saying Mumford might as well. He's in a bit of pain here, Nikita Burns. Might have rolled his knee on a very uneven surface. Assessor Hecky, meanwhile, Steve, scored in each of his last 3 games. All 3 have been defeats. As a striker, you're like, well, I'm scoring a goal.
I'm doing my job, yeah.
Getting beat.
Doing my job. I mean, he hasn't had a great game today. So they haven't created a lot of chances for him. But look, they're just in a painful spot at the moment. And there's nothing they can do with it except be patient and persevere. And it'll come for them. But it might take 2 or 3 weeks before they can get themselves into a position where they can win a game.
Speaking of painful spots, Nikita Burns is in one right now. Didn't get any treatment for it.
No, but he's not a happy chappy.
Munford with the distribution. Shockey tricked himself. And John is just too strong. Driscoll gets lucky with the first break. And now can find a Heggie, who's in on goal, and Mumford makes the save. John probably didn't need the touch. Will be a corner.
Yeah, it's the little hesitations, those little extra touches when you don't need them, that inability to finish off the good chances, and then vulnerabilities at the back. It makes it a really, really difficult proposition from a Knights point of view.
Niko Kresic will take. Big delivery towards the far post. It was met on the far post. Nick Dahler came in around the back, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Couldn't get it on target.
Yeah, it wasn't particularly great defending from a Gungahlin point of view.
Nikita Burns, I think.
Was it?
No, I think Nikita Burns is going to say his evening might be done here, or his afternoon. Looks like it was a twist to the knee for the fullback. Saw one for him. He strolls past us. Bailey Dickinson replaces him. He's going to miss next week anyway, we believe, through suspension.
Yeah. Oh. Never a good time to get injured, but
At least you give yourself a little bit more time to recover from it.
Yeah.
Oh, Daddario with the Ibrahimovic-esque flick.
Cantona on it.
And here's a chance for Ehegi to put the pressure on Green.
Cantona into the crowd. No problem.
Bit further closer on the pitch this time, though, for Giancarlo Daddario. That was a proper kung fu kick, old Eric, back in 1995.
He didn't miss him.
30 years ago this year.
I know. You wouldn't think so, would you?
No.
Where's that time gone, Russ?
I don't know. We've spent most of it stood here. Challenge comes in. 30 years.
30 years. Even his movie stardom has come to an end. It's that long ago.
Well, speaking of milestones, there's one for myself tomorrow, Steve.
What's that, bud?
Tomorrow will mark the 20th anniversary of when I landed in Australia full time.
I thought you came on the Endeavour.
Yeah, it might have been. It feels that long ago. 2005. Given the opportunity to come over here by Tuggeranong United Football Club.
Best move you ever made.
Yeah, on a 5-year deal with a work visa, which was nice. Got me a job as well. And here I am, 20 years later, still doing this. Involved in football here. It's been some journey, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Of course you have. What was your first job with Tuggers?
I worked for an air conditioning firm as an office manager for Delta Air Conditioning over in Fishwick, because their family, Christine and Dave Oxfords, they sponsored me to come over for 5 years. Jack Green's efforts pushed away by...
So you already caught it nicely.
Smith. He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
But there you go, that's tomorrow. That'll mark 20 years.
Congratulations.
A fair bit of it stood on these kind of balconies with yourself, and Ian and Frank and other people.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been good, hasn't it?
Yeah.
A few more to come, hopefully.
Have you regulated your visa since then?
I've been married since then. That sorted that out. Shocky with the corner. Might have 1 or 2 more games left in me. We'll see.
Football wouldn't be the same without you, Russ.
Well, you can take that whichever way you want. Swung into the middle. Turned away, only as far as Bailey Dickinson. Shocky's touch. Well, that's nice too, and he's found Daddario, who goes down under the challenge of Galich. This time the referee says no, but Shocky's won it back anyway for Gungahlin. Twinkle toes into the box.
Yeah, needs to pull it back. Got himself into a position where he could have set up the goal-scoring opportunity and wanted too many touches.
Driscoll gets rid of it. The chase from Ehegi. Safety first from Deacon Palombi. Needed to be.
The football.
Worked it nicely towards Driscoll, and that's Nick Krakowski coming across to win it. Connor Bill acting as ball boy. Driscoll with a throw then. Galich. Dahl. Driscoll round the corner. Dahl. John on the turn. Still might come for Harry Martin, who stabs it wide. And Steve, whilst Gungahlin lead 3-0, and they're probably well in control of this and might out another one or two before the end, but there's still that outside chance that if O'Connor score one, it might set a few nerves a-fluttering.
I mean, obviously the first half gave us a 3-0 half-time result, and that's comprehensive. But there was chances that they created at the start of the first half and again at the end of the first half that suggested that they were capable of getting back into the game, at least on the scoreboard. And in the second half, there just isn't 3 goals difference between these two teams on the performances that we've seen, certainly second half. But the score sheet says something different.
And that's all that matters, isn't it? It's that little scoreboard in the top left-hand corner of your screen is the one that matters the most.
There's a breeze blowing across the pitch, slightly in favour of O'Connor Knights. Maybe that's helped them. The fact that Gungahlin are comfortable is probably the biggest influencer.
Some more news for you in a moment. O'Connor lead 4-1 still. Canberra Croatia now 5-0 up over Canberra Croatia. Down in Solomad it's 1-1. But get this, Steve. Melrose Synthetic, where it was at half-time West Canberra Wanderers 0, Gungahlin United 3. It's now West Canberra Wanderers 3, Gungahlin United 3.
Wow, that's a comeback.
What a comeback from West Canberra Wanderers in the Women's Premier League. Kirby Yari-Yari's afternoon is done here. Marko Ratalski is going to come on for the Knights. That's some recovery from the Wanderers. If they could get another, they would have knocked off both Olympic and Gungahlin in a week.
What a week for them. What a week.
Against teams that are in and around that top 4 with them as well.
Yeah.
That's some comeback, 3 apiece.
I mean, they're dead and buried. 3-0.
Well, that's... I mean, Gungalin's men are 3-0 up here. I mean, so there you go. If O'Connor Knights need a little bit of a boost, someone pass that message on to them.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time we've seen a comeback like that, but
it doesn't look likely at the moment.
Well, I would say that they just lack enough to actually score 3. I don't think they've got enough O'Connor Knights to actually score 3. And if anybody's going to score again, it may well be Gungahlin.
Well, Steve's just queued it up now, hasn't he? If you're a Gungahlin fan, sorry. Deacon Palombi's back to Jack Green. Lofts it forward. Was a little shove there by Dickinson. It's play on, says the referee. Bailey Dickinson got his shot away. Not
the best shot. Did well to get in there, but it did look a little bit of a nudge to get him free in the first place. But
a bit of a nudge.
We only use both hands.
That's come off of Palombi.
But the finish in the end was not quite up to scratch.
It's a finish of a player who's never scored a Premier League goal at senior first grade level. Bailey Dickinson. Boyd up for the Knights. Nico Kresic.
Doesn't lack for pace.
Dario runs into the substitute Ratalski. Freddie fist that back, didn't he, to Connor Bill? Have some of that. How's your touch?
No young Marcus from Tigers days.
It's a good ball out wide from Galich. Marko Ratalski shanked that one.
Yeah, that's what he was doing at Tigers.
Sliced off the outside of his foot. And wide. So whilst Belconnen are winning and Canberra Croatia are winning, Gungahlin United in the Women's National Premier League are not at the moment.
They certainly are in the men, though.
I say Steve Rowan-Jones has done really well with that team down there at West Canberra Wanderers. They've built a very good programme with the young players coming through. We talk about players that have been promoted through the ranks. They brought a few in, of course, as well, as any club does, to bolster what you've already got. And it's paying dividends for them at the moment. Dahl on full stretch is Jack Green. Falls for Michael John. Ehegi. Gunners back in numbers now. John invites the cross from Kresic. It's a good one too. Mumford came. It's come for Heggie, who turns it into the open net. And hope springs eternal for the Knights midway through the second half. They're on the scoreboard.
Told you they wouldn't score. I don't know that Mr. Mumford will be overly pleased with his involvement in that goal. I mean, he came spectacularly to try and get the ball away, but he's ended up just punching it into his own player, and then the loose ball drops invitingly for Asoso Heggie, who breathed some life into the O'Connor Knights.
Scores for the fourth game in succession, Asoso Heggie.
3 of them have resulted in defeats, you were saying?
Yeah, since his return from overseas. Scores again at O'Connor enclosed as well. Kresic, whose cross created that, caused the problems for Mumford. Won't get an assist for it because it's not a direct ball in, but it caused the confusion which has allowed to Heggie to give O'Connor a toehold. And well, I talked about the 3-0 lead for the women's.
Yeah, timely.
Well, there's 22 minutes still to play. There's plenty of time here. Whilst Gunners still have a position of relative comfort, one more might mean that we can start talking about squeaky bum time.
Absolutely.
Here's Shockey looking to make all that moot, and it's a good ball out wide for Daddario. He can run at the defence here. Giancarlo Daddario. Smith got a touch, and it's turned into the far post by AJ Malaulu. His first goal in Gunners colours, his first goal in the Premier League, and it's just curtailed that comeback before it's even began.
Yeah, if you're going to respond, that's the way to do it. But in transition, fantastic break from Gungahlin. Daddario does really well. I don't know that he was trying to get the ball to the far post. I think he was shooting, and the goalkeeper sort of parried it into the path of Malalulu. And Johnny on the spot makes it 4-1, and 3-goal lead re-established.
I'm sure AJ Malaulu will score plenty more goals in his Premier League career, but I doubt he'll get one that's easier than that. But the first one always tastes the sweetest.
Yeah.
And the Gunners have restored their cushion.
But I mean, it's come from, sorry Russ, I was just going to say, it's come from a defensive posture, and they've got forward really quickly. So Malalula had to make up a lot of ground to get there, and did so.
He tucked it home. Turned it home as from close range. And any hope that they had of coming back has probably been taken off them.
Yeah. The flickering flames of a comeback have been extinguished by that rapid response.
Good ball from Shockey in the first instance, wasn't it, to release him? And here he is on the back of Malaulu's pass.
Good block.
I don't know what that's happening here. Knights can't get rid of it. Comedy capers at the back. And changes to be made. For Gungahlin United, William McCloskey, the third substitute. And it will be AJ Malaulu that's going to come off. Got his goal.
Yeah, done his job.
On his third appearance.
He's taking his time getting off, though.
Yes, he's milking the moment. Bruno Kelda having a bar of it. But just what Javier Roca would have wanted, Steve, having conceded a goal and given that little glimpse of hope to the Knights, just to snuff it out before it's even had a chance to really breathe.
Correct.
Shockey's touch. And if you wanted a moment that perhaps sums up O'Connor Knights season, those 80-odd seconds is probably it.
Well, for the first time in this game, they've managed to find the back of the net at one end, but then have just...
Here they come again.
Yeah, just fallen away again defensively.
Bit of goal at Solamad Stadium. Ugali 1, Tigers 2. Our roving reporter Declan Smith will get onto that for us and tell us who scored for the Tigers, which will be a big, big goal if that is the one that gives them the 3 points. A yellow card here for Deacon Palombi, his second of the campaign.
Yeah, just a bit of shirt point. Yeah, that's an important goal from a Tigers point of view. soundly beaten last week with a depleted side. They've gone away to Griffith, trying to sort of rebound and put themselves in a winning position.
Goal scorer Lukman Ahmed Shaibu once more.
Double-double.
Justifying his, I was going to say his transfer fee, and whatever it is. They're enticed him over with... Not all over yet, though, down there. Galich. Strong from Jack Green. Look at the space here for Shockey. Rides a couple of challenges, and that's a bit short for Daddario, perhaps. In fact, he's waited perfectly to get in behind. Oida with a good challenge.
Great tackle. Great tackle.
Needed to be. Daddario's down in a heap. There will be a corner kick.
Yeah, what's he doing?
Croatia have scored again. It's Canberra Croatia 6, Tuggeranong United 0 in that one. Gungahlin United have restored their lead at Melrose. West Canberra Wanderers 3, Gungahlin United 4 in a cracker down there. Balcony United 5, Majura 1 at McKellar. There you go. More goals.
They're going the way. The games are going the way that you might have predicted, but the 4-3 is very exciting.
Swung in by Shockey to the near post. Is that 19 goals in 3 games in the Women's Premier League?
Not bad, is it?
Bad afternoon. Who's editing the highlights? McCloskey's won it back. Another 5 here as well. 3 down at Solomad. Only 28 goals. Or 26 goals where it is. I don't know. Maths is not my strong point. Here goes Kimura.
The unfortunate thing is, in the women's game, there has been games in the past, in the recent past, where 20 have been scored in one game.
Well, there was one.
That's, I mean, that's nobody wants to see that, do they?
Not really, no. I don't think the players want to play in it either, to be perfectly honest.
No, of course they don't. But I mean, the Connor Knights have conceded 9.
Here's Shockey off the free kick, and it's into the middle. I guess Bailey was there. See if your point was going to make. O'Connor Knights, they conceded.
They conceded 9 in the game themselves, so
it's
not just the women's game that has these blowout results. We've seen them this year in the men's program as well.
Yeah, they led that, didn't they?
1-0.
The Croatian, the Chivapi derby. Then it all went wrong.
Drastically wrong.
They did catch Canberra Croatia on some night, didn't they? They were in inspired form.
Irresistible.
It's not had it all their own way since the cup final.
No, there's a lot of comments around that in the local football community about the fact that although they're still picking up the odd points through a win, they're not doing it as fluently as they had been doing in the early part of the season.
And you've got to grind out those wins at some stage, don't you?
Yeah.
That's how you win league titles. You can't be fluent every single week.
No, you've got to be up for the battle when it turns into a battle, and I'd rather be them than anybody else at this stage, but it's certainly not over.
Here's James Driscoll to bring it forward. Knights won't give this one up, even though it is looking like an uphill task. Well won by Dickinson. Stumble helped by a clip of the heels from Ratowski. It's getting a bit cooler, Steve Forshaw.
That wind's got teeth.
14 minutes to play. It's going to be a change here. Giancarlo Daddario, who's opened the scoring with a nerveless penalty earlier on. He's run his race, and he's done it well.
He's had a good game, really good game.
Straight into the showers to use all the hot water.
That's the way.
Don't blame him either. Teammates might. Might just be getting a tracksuit though, Steve, do you think?
I thought I was going to get another touch then, Ross.
You've had enough touches today. We all know about your cup final heroics from a penalty spot. And if you don't, you can read all about it in that magazine I mentioned earlier. McCloskey in behind. Connor Bill with the challenge. Jaden Rippon, by the way, is the player that came on. Should have mentioned that. Connor Bill.
Impressive. Kimura, Shockey, both been good today.
Robertson with the chested pass forward. Nick Dahl.
He's toiled away as well. Nicky Dahl, he hasn't had a bad game. In fact, apart from some obvious errors, O'Connor Knights have done reasonably well. They find themselves 4-1 down.
Bill. Good touch from Rotowski. Galich. Driscoll. Galich for the return. Wants to take on Jack Green. It's not a bad ball in either.
Did well.
Met at the near post by Trojkovski. That's a lovely turn and spin away by McCloskey. Shockey's robbed by Dahl. John. Difficult to knock off the ball, Michael John.
Very strong, very strong. Good upper body strength. Uses it well.
Kresic loves these positions. Can't get past Robertson. Giancarlo Dodari's just gone to get a big jacket. Don't blame him, he's a bit cold.
So much for the hot water.
Yeah, absolutely. Kresic again. Trying to jink his way past Kimura. Martin's lofted one in. Mumford much more stronger under it this time. Good take. He'll be a little bit cross. He's conceded today, as all goalkeepers are.
Yeah, they don't like conceding, and that's not a particularly good throw. They got away with it.
Made a good throw by Bailey Dickinson's determination to get there, I believe. Connor Bill's pass isn't great. Picked off by Jack Green. Loves a diagonal ball. And he's got Rippon in behind here. The substitutes hasn't had a touch yet. He's had a couple now. And he's forced a corner.
You're trying to curl it into the bottom corner. Great ball from Jack Green, well read to win it, and then sets Rippon free. Finish with a strike. You can't complain too much.
Came off a voider. 10 minutes to play. Knights 1, Gunners 4.
Pace has gone out of this game a little bit, Russ. The intensity's gone. It's just the that goal, that fourth goal from Gungahlin so soon after the O'Connor Knights game was just taking the sting out of any sort of O'Connor Knights resistance.
Shockey into the near post. Swung away, but bounced kindly. Trojkovski. Clipped in by Robertson, who's chipped the goalkeeper. And that sums up his afternoon. Is there anything he can't do? Thomas Robertson has a couple, and Gungahlin have 5.
Yes. What do you say about that sort of thing? I'm not sure it was meant to be. I think he was trying to get across, but my goodness, if he's meant it, it was perfectly placed.
He is having the afternoon of his Premier League life, is Thomas Robertson. He's got himself a brace. He's got himself an assist. He won the penalty. He's channeling everything.
What a day he's had. I don't know whether Gungahlin will give him any of the match awards at all, but he's got to be favourite.
Well, he's just clipped it over the goalkeeper. Thomas Robertson got himself 2 from fullback.
Not a bad effort at all.
Once he left his boot, it always looked like it was going to go in. It's one of those afternoons he's having, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
He could have hit that with his eyes closed in the way he's been playing today. It would have dropped in the top corner. McCloskey.
Yeah, he can do no wrong at the moment. He's got the golden boots on.
I've seen Thomas Robertson score 3 goals this season, commentating on all of them, and they've all been decent. And we had that one, I think you were with me with Tuggeranong, where he hit that one, a half volley off the corner.
A Gungahlin.
Through the crowd, against Tuggeranong United.
That was a gem.
He's got a bullet header here and a lofted chip. Doesn't score bad goals, Thomas Robertson.
Thomas Messi Robertson.
He's never scored a Premier League goal before this season. He's got 3 now. He's actually doubled his Premier League tally in the space of, what was that then? 50 minutes near enough.
Yeah.
Get him up top, Javier. Looking for a centre forward, aren't they, in the absence of Les Penas now? Shockey finds Kimura. Rippon might be in behind. You have to feel a bit for the Knights here. It doesn't feel like they've been a 5-goal game. But
no, it doesn't. But it is.
Poor old Marcus Smith. in the nets, has had to pick it out 5 times.
And he's made a couple of really good saves too.
And the team that sits, well, as they were before today, in 6th place with 12 points and having only scored 16 goals all season, have now got 13 of those in a... They've now got 21 goals, and 13 of which have come in the last 3 weeks.
Well, this is the second time in 3 weeks they've scored 5.
The local NPL, strange old beast. It might not be finished yet. Trajkovski looking for McCloskey, who's offside.
Shouldn't have been.
O'Connor Knights turning to the bench. And it's the 2 young boys who are going to get a go. Galich and Ehegi are going to come off. It's Marcus Agnello on debut. Jack Janke only the second time this season. We'll see him as well.
Oh, congratulations to Agnello, anyway, to getting his debut. Not the greatest of times to be coming on when your team is down 5-0. Coach's instructions have been reasonably simple. Go on and get a couple for us. Get us back in the game.
Here he is, wearing the number 11, Marcus Agnello.
Built for speed by the looks of it.
And Jack Janke on the other side. His father, I think, played for Tuggeranong United back in the day.
Jenke?
Yeah.
Is his father John Paul?
Might well be, I think.
Because John Paul Jenke, if it is the relation, was blessed with an abundance of speed and was a very good player.
Could well be. I mean, I'm not sure that it's that common a surname. Boys walking past us. Well done. Congratulations on your first goal.
I think JP played for Monero in the National League.
It might well be. I don't know if there must be some family relationship there. I don't know many Yankees.
No, neither do I. I could be 100% wrong with that.
Oh, who knows? If you do know, let us know. I do know that he's come out of Marist. Jack Janke was one of their standout players in the school. He was taught by Matt McDonald, who was a former Tuggeranong United goalkeeper as well. He's now head of mathematics at Marist.
That sums it up.
Yeah, it does. Well done. I'll tee them up. You put them away, my friends. For more terrible jokes, tune in for me to do in a couple of weeks' time.
Yes. I was actually having a conversation with some of the younger players at Radford about the benefits of knowing about algebra. And we reached the conclusion that never had to use it as long as I've lived.
No, I haven't either. My daughter was talking about Pythagoras' theorem that they're teaching her.
Oh, yeah.
And she said, have you heard of Pythagoras' theorem? I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure he was centre back for Greece when they won the 2004 Euros. And then she rolled her eyes and walked away. Connor built.
Well, apparently the square on the hypotenuse is
equal to the sum of the other 3 sides or something?
Some of the squares on the other 2 sides.
That's something like that.
in a right angle triangle.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it was. Something along those lines anyway, my friend.
It's a horrible song, man.
What's that?
Well, that I just learned the words.
Here's Nick Dahl. Under pressure from Shockey.
It's a terrier, isn't he?
Yankee will take the throw.
What's the background of the 2 Japanese boys that are playing here?
Do you know what? I don't actually know an awful lot about them, to be fair.
They look decent.
As you mentioned in the first half, though, Miyabayashi, Ogawa.
Yeah.
This pair as well. They're very technically blessed. Good footballers. Making a big difference to this outfit. It's a good ball out wide from Driscoll to find Ratowski. Looking for Agnello. His first involvement.
It's coming the long way round to get that ball back to Connor Bill.
He's been picked up by Green.
Not for the first time today or in his career.
And I think James Driscoll's just going to get himself a card here.
Silly. 5-0 up. What's the point?
It's 5-1, Steve.
5-1 and down, not up.
I know what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
Knew exactly what he's saying. Didn't get there. Third yellow card of the campaign for James Driscoll.
See, that puts him one closer to a suspension.
Don't need your maths to sum that one up, do you?
Oh.
Managed to get that one. Was a bit silly.
Yeah.
It was more of a frustrated pullback than anything, wasn't it?
I don't know. They're not a club that can afford to have senior players missing for silly reasons.
Rippon's ball back, finds Dickinson. He's going to find Jack Green in turn. Canberra Crawford again at Deakin Stadium. They lead Tuggeranong United by 7-0 in the Women's Premier League. Belconnen have scored again at McKellar. It's Belconnen United 6, Majura 1. Gungahlin still lead by the odd goal in 7 at Melrose Synthetic.
Robinson bombing forward again has managed to get that ball out of play. It's the first time he's made a mistake going forward.
They're in stoppage time at Solar Mad, where it looks a lot warmer than it is here. Gungahlin 1, Tigers 2. In stoppage time there, and we are 45 seconds away from stoppage time here, of which we're not sure how many minutes there will be.
Have to be 3 or 4 minutes, wouldn't it?
Would have thought so. It's a bit in moods, really, at 5-1. I saw watching Paris Saint-Germain Real Madrid highlights, and I read somewhere that the referee added no minutes on at all at the end of that Club World Cup semi-final, whatever the hell they're calling it. 90 minutes, blew the whistle, 4-0 to Paris Saint-Germain, just decided game over.
Game over, yeah.
Just go home. Real Madrid did go home. And Paris Saint-Germain are going to play that mighty football, plucky underdogs of Chelsea.
They'll start well and truly underdogs.
They will, with their £1.5 billion team. You know, if they lose tomorrow, they might have to go and spend another 500 mil on players.
They've already spent some.
Challenged by Marko Ratalski.
I know he dived then.
To head it. Old habits die hard.
I was giving it one of them. I was away.
Dickinson finds Jack Green. It's been a good afternoon again for the Gunners. They will look to make that continue. This will be their 3rd win in succession. Next week they play Monero Panthers at home.
Not too long ago, we were talking about a game with O'Connor Knights and Gungahlin when they were bottom and second bottom. Gungahlin have been able to rectify whatever was going wrong for them and are now on the cusp of being in the top 4.
Well, 5 points off it, Steve, after today.
Only 5.
Yep. And 2 behind Tuggeranong in 5th place.
Well, they're certainly not out of finals contention. Important game from next week.
If they take their chances like this, they've done today, they've got every chance.
Look, if you can go to Deakin Stadium and score 5, you can score against any team in this competition. The problem, of course, at Deakin Stadium was that they conceded 4 as well, and they've conceded again today. They conceded 1 last week against Gungahlin. So they are vulnerable. They will give you chances. Monero are more than capable of taking them, and I think it's a really important game from both teams' point of view next week.
And this one cruising towards its conclusion. Another disappointing afternoon for O'Connor Knights at home. Another defeat at home. Only the 1 win here this season. The natives would be restless, but I think they've already given up on this campaign.
Yeah, they'll be planning for next year, see what they can do. Whether they stick with the current staff, whether they stick with the current playing group, who they approach to bring in. It'll all be part of the thinking at the moment.
And plenty to think about, plenty to do. But it's been a Gungahlin show. They thoroughly deserve the victory they're going to take home. Bailey skips away from Dahl, who had a lunge at him.
He's been booked already as well, hasn't he, Nicky Dahl?
Well, let's check my notes.
Oh, excuse me.
No, he hasn't.
Oh, he's due one then.
He's got 5 yellow cards this season, Nick Dahl.
Already?
Yep. He's already served 1 suspension.
What is it, 7 for the next one?
It is. Full-time at Solomad. Ugali 1, Tigers 2.
Great 3 points for
Tigers, a big 3 points there. They go to 27. They close the gap on Canberra, Croatia to 6.
It's a healthy buffer, but they've managed to reduce. I mean, that's the 3 points that they lost last week when they got beaten by Canberra, Croatia, and beaten comfortably. I know it was a depleted side, but they've got that 3 points back now that Canberra, Croatia were beaten last night.
Can the Knights finish with a flourish? Driscoll.
Good feat.
Blocked by Green. No, they can't. As Bruno Kell brings it to a conclusion, Steve Forshaw, very competent, convincing and comfortable in the end performance from Gungahlin United, who took most of their chances and have come away with a big win.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been a different game. We said that they saw chances at the start of the first half that had O'Connor Knights been able to take them, would have put a lot more pressure on Gungahlin. But in the end, they run out very, very comfortable winners. They've taken their chances. Robinson has had a day to remember. 2 goals from fullback, earned the penalty. Great performance from a Gungahlin point of view. They move within striking distance of the top 4, and if they can keep that momentum going, they're a bit of a chance to cause some upsets between now and the end of the season.
Gungahlin United, comfortable winners. I suppose Heggie's goal in the second half for the Knights has counted out by more than enough from Gunners over the other side. Thomas Robertson channeling his inner Messi or Ronaldo, or a bit of both. 2 goals, an assist, and winning a penalty from fullback. Giancarlo Daddario converted that penalty. Ayumu Kimura's goal made it 2-0 way long time ago. There was a first in the Premier League for AJ Malolu as well, and Gungahlin United have cruised to victory at O'Connor Enclosed. Full-time score, the Knights 1, Gunners 5.